Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or my list and sideboard guides before tournaments, check out Patreon or the YouTube membership program. This channel is made possible by these amazing sponsors. Check out all their links in the video description below. Once again, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today, we are very much in my pocket in Legacy, playing some Yorion Hot Bant. This league comes from Patreon subscriber Rio, who wanted me to update Hot Bant, and it also comes from popular streamer and Legacy personality Anurag Das, aka Anzi. AnziDmtg, more specifically. Anzi just top baited last week's Legacy challenge with this, I almost said 75, this 95, featuring Yorion. In the early days of Yorion, and then again when Minsc and Boo came out, Anurag did a lot of work on these 4-color soup decks with 80 cards. The deck was affectionately nicknamed YoriAnzi, and guess what? It's back. I played a 60-card version of this about 2 weeks ago on the channel. I had some thoughts at the end, and I wanted to do something totally different while somehow still being the same. Things I said at the end of my 60-card league were that fighting Caracas is still pretty annoying. Fast combo is a problem. I didn't really like Sylvan Library. I wasn't sure what Planeswalkers or in what quantities I wanted to play. I knew Minsc and Boo had to be in there, but how many Teferi, how many Narset? Those questions were still in the air. And Anzi's list addresses a lot of those concerns. With 3 extra forces plus 2 spell pierces, we do have more counter magic in the main than I had in my build. 4 Staff of the Storyteller is really interesting. This is the type of engine that I'm much more interested in than Sylvan Library, which there is still 1 copy in the list because Anzi can't help himself on this card. But Staff of the Storyteller, you don't mind drawing it on turn 4, where on Sylvan Library, a lot of times you're just like, I need some kind of impactful spell, and it's this instead, and then you're just dead. But Staff of the Storyteller, you never mind drawing it, because in the early game, it threatens value. In the late game, you can cash it out immediately for 3 mana and still leave your 1/1 behind. They're great in multiples, unlike Sylvan Library. If it gets Prismatic Ending immediately, you've still gained value off it with your Spirit. And if you cast it with 3 mana, you can draw a card, get your Spirit, and then it's Prismatic Ending, which is just an insane deal all around. I've been putting Staff in a lot of Staff-based control decks, but we don't actually need to be that Staff-centric, because Staff is a good deal on its own, and the second one recharges the first one, and then you're up cards all around. And rather than going full Shark Typhoon, Timeless Dragon, all these specific token enablers, Minsc and Boo, a card you're playing anyway, makes a token every single turn. And cool thing that rarely comes up, but now it will all the time, is you get to make a Boo token every upkeep. Generally, you just don't, because it would Legend Rule the first one. But now, if you make the Boo token, keep the original, that will charge the Staff, because the token did come into play briefly. So Minsc and Boo gets plus a card, even if you already have a hamster that's stuck. Insane. And another card that people have asked me about, but I haven't tried yet myself, Fable of the Mirror Breaker makes tokens on arrival, and if you get to the Ace 3 and flip into Reflection of Kiki Jiki, that also makes tokens. This is a value engine that also fixes your mana in a deck that is rough on mana, and it charges your Staff, and it's another permanent with card selection people got to worry about. If you ever discard Uro or Loam to the second ability, you're just in the stratosphere on card advantage. Very exciting innovation that I have not tried myself in this shell yet, generally because there's not room, but we have 20 extra cards we got to fill in this build. This is basically all the cards I was playing in my 60-card version, plus Fable of the Mirror Breaker and Staff of the Storyteller. Nothing needed to be cut, because we're a Yorion deck, we're just adding cards, and everything else in the deck should look familiar, but this is some cool additional technology. We have so much room for activities. And let's go try this out. This is YoriAnzi from Patreon subscriber Rio. I'm on the play in round 1 with a tragic non-blue 1-lander. I'm going to mulligan it. I'm in for this. We got 3 lands, Uro and Narset. I'm going to keep, and it's between a land or plow that I send to the bottom. I don't know the matchup yet. I want my 3 mana payoffs. I want to be able to be alive. I think I'm going to send the plow. Just Moto League BS. I think in real life I would send the force. But I know what's out here in these streets. Verdant Catacombs. I immediately wish I had Swords to Plowshares. Mox Diamond. We are playing against Depths. Deeproot Wayfinder. Shit. Immediately punished. Okay, they're gonna get to ramp with that thing unless I draw another removal spell right now, which I did not do, and I don't deserve. It's fine. They're gonna get to live the dream. It's cool that this card found such a great home so quickly. 2 mana, 2/3 when it hits Surveil, and then you can reanimate a land from your graveyard. Business is bonkers. What basics are in this list? Just the island, I think, yeah. So they can recur Wasteland now. And that's really bad for me. The land does come into play tapped. Okay, I can Uro, hit my extra land drop, be above 20 life temporarily. Yeah, I think I do need to Uro here, and I just gotta lean all the way in on lands that cast my spells. And what a beating. Just keeping Plow. Oh, we found Plow anyway. Easy game. Okay. So I now have some sort of option. Their deck does traditionally play 2 Sejiri Steps. But I can force a... Alright, now I can't force anything. I have to fetch a Tundra. Because Scalding Tarn doesn't get a whole lot of white sources in my deck. I'm going to Plow. And then Thoughtseize can leave me with Narset or Brainstorm, both of which are pretty reasonable engines. They can waste me off miles away from Uro. Just take 2 green, or hit my green source, and I need 2 lands to Uro again. If they have any creature to follow up here, I'm in trouble. Took my Bee Storm. Empire Hexmage. Okay, they can make Merit Lage right now if they have the depths. Wasting me off. Blue. Okay. So they could try to Spirit Guide, Crop Rotation, GG me. Guess I cast Ponder here. Land. Minskin Boo. We'll take the land. And I can hold up Hardcast, Force of Negation, or I can play Narset and just hope that the game lasts another turn. I'm going to do that. Tropical Island. Start working my way back to Uro. Activate Narset. Take another Ponder, and I'll pass the turn. They didn't NSEP a Merit Lage on me. I like that. Thoughtseize, yeah, sure. They know what my hand is. Or I get... Yeah, they did have perfect information. So Hexmage can either attack Narset, so she can't activate, or sack to delete her outright. There's a Crop Rotation. Is it Depths or is it Bojuka Bog? What path are they taking? It's Depths. They don't seem to be respecting the fact that I'm a Wasteland deck. Okay, I'm going to Ponder. If I can Raw Dog a green source. Oh, I found a blocker. That's really good too. Okay. If I Raw Dog the green source, I could put Uro into play and be alive at 1. But as it stands, I'm going to have to fetch for it. This does make a blocker for Dark Depths. I lose the Sejiri Step, but I'm going to lose the Sejiri Step no matter what. And I'm going to draw my card and get Uro set up for next turn. And I'll pass. If they have the thing, it's going to work. 3 cards in their hand. They've Thoughtseize me twice. The coast is clear. There's 1 Sejiri Step in the graveyard already. Abrupt Decay does it. Like, yeah, Witherbloom Command certainly does it. Okay. GG. Okay. Didn't know the matchup. Bottomed a card that would have been insane in the matchup. Noted. There's not a lot going on in this deck, or in this sideboard. that would be helpful. That's not already in the main deck. Carpet of Flowers, they just don't have any islands. I can turn that into Dress Down. That knocks cool abilities off their cards. They could have Choke or Sylvan Library. We've seen Mox Diamond. Force of Vigor has some text on it. I don't think I want all these Force of Negations. They have some busted draws, but we saw that game. A pair of Thoughtseizes just pick apart everything I was doing. I like Spell Pierce a lot. And I think this is what I got. Surgical, like you can bring those in if you answer the first Merit Lage and then take all the depths out, but I don't think that's where I need to be in this matchup. Prismatic Ending is pretty solid, and I have a game plan in Minsc and Boo. Just gonna land go here. They turn one another, Deep Root, whatever. I think Needle. I will fetch in response and grab my basic island. My hand is full of colors already. Named Narset. Okay, there's 3 of those in this 80 card deck. I hope I don't draw any. I'm not going to spend a Prismatic Ending on that. That can hit stuff like Hexmage or Sylvan Library. Nihil Spellbomb, kind of whatever. Towards the Plowshares. I do like that one. I'm going to play Tundra and put Yorion in my hand. And they're on emergency draw card mode with the Spell Bomb. That's fine. You'll find no value here. If they choke me here, that sucks. I can ending my way out of it over multiple turns. They're now showing me Dark Depths. Don't have a green source available. Oh, that's sick. And now I can add to the board, show a blocker, show a card advantage thing without relying on Swords to Plowshares to beat them straight up. They're going for the move here. Must have something. Just gonna plow. If they have Not of This World, it's fine. Or Merit Lage will simply leave the battlefield. I'm cool with that too. This looks like a Witherbloom command. Yeah, this is a spot where Surgical would be good, but you're not always in a spot like this. I'm gonna fetch for a white source and draw my card here. Another Savannah looks good. I've got a lot of blue. Alright, Staff the Storyteller doing its job here. They milled themselves and they're going to pick up one of these lands. Picked up the depths. Okie dokie. This is where we try to turn the corner. Caracas, what's up? Never unhappy to see that one in this matchup. Old Minsc and Booberry. And start attacking. I do love that we get to play 4 Minsc in these Yorion builds. That's just a card you want often. And when you have so many of them, you can use one to make a big hamster and use the other to minus all in the same turn. It's a pretty common end game. And with an opponent at 35, I'm going to need to do a lot of damage. The Depths is back. I am not going to make a hamster because I don't have a staff, but we were almost there actually on that cool play. I have found a Narset. There's the second Minsc. I'm not really in the market for that. I will put another Plow in my hand. Play Caracas. I'm doing that pre-combat, so if they can instant speed the Merit Lage, I can answer it. Back with my stuff. I guess I can play Narset here, even if I can't use her yet. Like, just get her in, and then next turn I can Prismatic Ending plus activate. I don't know if they're going to draw any extra cards, but let's just get the material on the board where I can. It doesn't affect my options this turn. Doing this. I wish I could float bouncing a legend. Fortunately, not how that works. I can Mystic Sanctuary here. I don't even know if that's something I want to do. Like, do I care about Ponder? I'll just grab a Tropical Island and hang out. Loam's in my deck somewhere. Your own Caracas. Yikes. That was a high impact magic card. Bouncing my Boo right now. Another Minsc and Boo. Not the most helpful of things. I think it's time to answer this Needle. I'm going to go after that, use Narset, try to find some action. Fable and Mirror Breaker, what's up? That's a cool card. Minsc and Boo. My creature's not a hamster, so not a lot of help here. I'm actually not going to attack this turn, because if they do end up with a Barret Lage in the end step, I guess I should have plus Minsc Boo on nothing. Yeah, I just missed a loyalty there. Make the hamster. Draw for turn, dress down. Pretty cool. Do I want to send the other Minsc Boo into the trash? I think I do. Minsc Boo and Yorion is not really doing a lot here. Not convinced dress down's doing a lot either. Thematic ending, Force of Will, Terminus. Guess I'll take Force of Will. Start putting the walls up. Brainstorm. Put back Valk and another Brainstorm. Play Trop. Buff my hamster. That will be removed, but I'm at least going to do it. I'll leave back my 1/1 again. I'm probably giving him another 20 life this turn cycle. It would be cool if I didn't have to. You can't be afraid of a long game here. Just don't die, and the long game will eventually favor you. Another 20/20, I will remove it. I can hardcast Force this turn and play Dress Down if I need to. Wayfinder. That's when it damages a player. I can dress that down, it's fine. Gotta watch out for my clock, because dealing 45 damage is a big ask. If I find a Wasteland or a Loam, I'm in business. Wasting me off red. Okay. You got me. I have treasures in play. Not super concerned about that. Make the 1/1. Jiki flips over. Bump the hamster. Fracas happens. Brainstorm. Burrow is good stuff. I'm gonna put back Valk and Misty. Then I'll play Uro. And I will immediately escape Uro also. Should have fetched just to play around Surgical. Are there any spells on my graveyard that I want access to? Not really. A Volcanic Island, and then blue, blue, green, green. Bug Life. There's no endurances in this 75, which is really interesting to me, but I guess you don't need them. I don't need another Tundra in play either. Else I'll get in for 1 flying. I have the biggest creatures on board. Not currently dressed down, unfortunately. Reflection of Kiki is not a legend. Bajuka Bog, it's a little late to the party. This gets rid of my Caracas for future loam consideration. But at least I got Uro through. Elvish Reclaimer is in. There's 4 Terminus in my deck. Wayfinder did not attack. Now we got them in the squeeze, where I have 2 real things in play that need to be Caracased every turn. Oh, there's a Terminus that I just mentioned. So I have 2 real things that need to be Terminused every turn. And there need to be Caracased every turn. I'm going to copy my Goblin Shaman. I just want some action on this thing. They probably bounce Uro. Oh wow, they're letting me attack with everything. Get after it, squad. My plan is to use Dress Down to kill Elvish Reclaimer after combat. Bouncing bouncing Boo after attacks. Uro gets some action. I will put my Tundra in at this point. Don't know why though, I have so many treasures. No, I should have held on to that Tundra. That was bad. Okay, so Dress Down will kill Elvish Reclaimer later. The token's dying anyway. So I can wait and see if Brainstorm comes up with anything before I bother to Dress Down. Bunch of lands. I do want the shuffle. I can put this Terminus away and this. Fetch land away. Fetch for Tundra. And I think I want to end step and Dress Down. That way their Deep Root thing isn't alive on their turn. And this will kill Elvish Reclaimer through another Terminus. Uro's in play. Minsc Boo's still a problem. I am a turn ahead of the Caracas where I need to be here. My clock is ticking. I'm way more worried about that than anything else. Deck does have 2 Wastelands in it. Oh wow, Yorion is a Saga deck. That's some stuff. I have Force of Vigor, it's not a huge deal, but that is certainly some stuff. Attacking Narset, and I'd rather have the 1/1 in play. I mean, they don't know this, but I'm not a Days Undoing deck. I think I want to force Saga now. They didn't put any other artifacts or enchantments into play. I don't really want to deal with this later. I just used my dress down. Gonna get another turn of Hamster plus Uro action. Drawing another Terminus. I spoke it into existence, and now I keep drawing them. Staff and second Boo. I like both of those things. Pump up the Hamster. And I'm just going to attack with my Legends. Or no, I have over 20 life. Now I can attack with Spirit pretty safely. And they're taking their medicine on Uro. Yeah, I think Reflection attacks this turn as well. This is an opportunity for me to draw 4 cards. I don't think I need to do that, though. Here's Uro on the front. Here's Uro on the back. The graveyard is suboptimal right now, but I think playing quickly is more important than playing perfectly. Spirit token, and now I have a reason to make a Hamster every turn. I don't believe there's a fetchable white source left in my deck, but I do have a bunch of treasures. Thoughtseize, have a look. What would you like? The other Minskin Boo makes sense. Wasteland, whatever. Taking out red, still have a bunch of treasures. Next up, I'm going to draw a card with a treasure. There's Loam, cool. Right, now I get to do the Minskin Boo trick, where yes, I'll make a token, I will keep the bigger one, and that charges staff for free every upkeep. Glad that came up in the game, that's fun. Drawing the third Terminus. This is the world we live in. Bump my Boo, which is now going to require a Caracas. They have to let Uro through this turn because this thing's so friggin' big. Or not. It's up to you. Okay, they still value Uro more than Boo. I guess that's fair. They have a lot of life. In my brain, it's just already at 2020, but 7's not actually that much. That's the kind of game we're playing. 7's not actually that much. Count it. Thematic ending. Do I care about this? I'm going to tap Scalding Tarn for black. Probably not fetching with it anyway. Sylvan Library. And I guess I'll take it. Sylvan Library. And Loam. I guess I should have fetched and played Loam. Maybe that's better. And I will, ending this Deeproot idiot. I can make a 1/1 blocker on their turn or a 1/1 attacker on mine with Reflection. And I'm not worried about actually losing this game, but I'm pretty worried about timing out in the match. End step, make a token. It won't die till my end step. I get to attack with it. It charges the staff. Upkeep. Yes. The big one. Charge the staff again. Draw for turn. I am not going to dredge Loam. I am going to activate staff before Sylvan Library goes, because Sylvan Library counts cards you've drawn this turn. So this will give me more options in what I want to put back or keep. I'm just going to keep everything. Pay for. Found the Wasteland. We're in business now. Wasteland. Take out your Caracas. Bounce my Hamster one more time for the road. And then I think I do want to fetch now. No, I have enough things. I dredge off this Uro draw. Uro dies. Escape Uro. Uro's back. Oh, my Wasteland. Play my Wasteland. Oh, no, JK. I made a lander up already. I'll just attack with my Spirit tokens. And I'll make another one. This is the part of the game where the comments section starts telling me that I should be exiling Loam to Uro. And you're probably right. I can never ever lose this game, but it is costing me a lot of time to get here. Make the Hamster. I am going to dredge Loam. Honestly, it's just for... And I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop librarying as well. I just have to win the game now. Can't actually lose it. Back with all my creatures. Wasteland in. Play my land and pass. Opponent is dead on board. 6 minutes on my clock to their 14.5. Ugh. This friggin' deck. End a turn. Make an extra token. Not going to do the Boo trick. I'm not even drawing cards with the things that I have. Just going to go into combat and attack with all my stuff. Opponent is playing to their outs, and I'm not mad at them for it. I have under 6 minutes to win the next game with. I'm gonna have to go full cheese mode. I think Surgical Extraction should come in now that I'm gonna be crazy. Instant Boo required, Force of Vigor. I'm still interested in, especially after seeing Saga. I think I'm gonna cut a Terminus. I mean, Terminus gets me stable, but it's really bad when I'm ahead. Alright, I'm gonna cut Library instead. Because my opponent can easily win a game in 5.5 minutes. So they have 14. They can easily win a game in 14 minutes. And even if I time out from ahead, I can at least count that as something like an educational experience. You will get to see me play the game. Whereas if I genuinely just die because I boarded out all my Terminuses, then you get to see bad play and you get to see me lose. Let's at least lose making good plays, I guess. This hand kind of sucks. If the Terminus was Plow, I'd be very excited, but it's not, so I'm just going to send it. All again, I will keep this one and put one of the prismatic endings on the bottom. No, I'll send the Surgical. I mean, Surgical's like a after you're stable issue, but every other card in my hand gets me stable. Opponent's on 5. I'm F6'd. Let's go. Speed, Magic, Gaming. Thoughtseize. They have a 3-card hand now. They have a choice of all these white removal spells and Uro. I'll play the land that can cast Brainstorm in case they wasteland me. Saga's real good. Claimer dies to my whole hand. I'll play Savannah and Prismatic Ending. And pass the turn. Urborg, so they are doing Saga stuff. Tropical Island Uro is my play. I know they can tutor Nile Spellbomb next turn. That's going to happen regardless. I just gotta this game forward, whatever that looks like. And if they're getting Nile Spellbomb instead of Expedition Map for 2020, fine with that. I can Brainstorm to set up Terminus here, clear out these constructs. Did get Nile Spellbomb, no surprise there. And they have black up to activate it because of Urborg. Brainstorm, set up Terminus. Put back Savannah and Terminus. Fairly certain this game is not winnable. And Uro is just the wrong number here. I have priority in my main phase, and they didn't bomb. But Uro only had 4 things to eat, and now my stuff's gone. It's fine. Just gonna have to shove Yorion and hope it's lethal. Because I'm drawing a land next turn, that's not helpful. This jerk. Guess I can just kill this jerk. Static Ending. Make sure I tap correctly, even if I'm playing fast. I'm gonna Loam target nothing. No, I'm not. And don't think we're that desperate yet. Loam target nothing in an 80 card deck where I'm looking for exactly Uro. I don't think that's the play. Flamer. That's a pretty good one. Pithing Needle is going to name Wasteland this game now that they know it's in my deck. Oh wow, they named Instant Boo. I don't have any red mana. But okay. Ponder. Find me the gas. Wasteland, I will sit that in play since they didn't name it. Wait. Would I rather Wasteland them? I think so. Wasteland your stage, and I can loam this back right now. I think this is better than just shoving Yorion onto the board. Just cut the combo out from under them, and I can do a mostly irrelevant Yorion next turn. Still have up Wasteland. Thoughtseize my Yorion. Okay, no, I can't. Okay, I know my top cards are 2 lands. I'm going to Dredge Loam. Would not have ended up with those anyway. Wasteland your Bayou. Loam these. Play the... Oh wait, I played Wasteland this turn. Right. Okay. I can Mystic Sanctuary. Oh, Terminus was in the Nile Spellbomb. Never mind. Okay. I cannot Mystic Sanctuary. I'm going to take a real draw step. Staff of the Storyteller. I like it. Staff. I'm going to draw my card on their turn. Just in case it's Terminus. I'm going to waste Urborg now. They don't have green to rotate away. They left their creatures back. Draw with staff right now in case it's Terminus. Don't dredge loam. Press down. Okay. Dark Depths. Not ready to block yet. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Hello. That's another draw. Fable. This also beats Reclaimer in combat. I draw a card now. No longer trying to hit Terminus. Okay. We're doing stuff. I'm at 4. They've continued to hit land drops after my wasting. I'm gonna block both and play Dress Down. Leaving up white just in case I hit Terminus or Plow. If they Sujiri Step, that'll save their creature, but it won't kill mine. They are Sujiri Stepping, and they're doing it in the wrong order, so their creature's still going to die because it's going to get pro-red and then lose pro-red. If they had done this the other way, they would have gotten to keep their creature. Okay, I mean, we're going to time out, but moral victory all day. Fable discarding these 2 lands is insane. I'm pretty sold on Fable of the Mirror Breaker. This rules. Minskin Boo cannot be activated, but it can be played, which charges my staff. Let's get in there. Draw a card with staff. Burrow? You don't say. Burrow. They still have Bajuka Bog in their deck, which their creature can go find. I think it's okay. Okay, I mean, this was a pretty cool turn. I feel like I'm ahead in this game. Rock Dread Cantor. I mean, I'm holding Baracus in play right now. I don't care. End step, bounce to rock. 21 seconds is not going to be enough, which is too bad because I can Mystic Sanctuary, the Prismatic ending back, draw it with Ponder, cast it, and then Minskin Boo them into shit. All right, I mean, we win this game with another minute on the clock. GG, though. Okay, so I don't know if I could. I mean, I probably could have played faster at some point, but I was pretty cognizant of clock throughout. But we have Wasteland Loam active against an opponent with no permanents facing down a shitload of stuff. Like, we win this game in paper or, you know, with another 2 minutes on the clock if I had played faster somewhere. But yeah, good showing of the deck. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, sick. On to the next round. You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7 Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7 Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7 Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7 Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better. Putting my reputation on the line here, Island Ponder Keep. On the draw, I think this hand, I mean, obviously I'd rather have like Force of Will and Swords of Plowshares in it, but any kind of fair matchup, these hands are fine. Oh, Mox Opal. Okay. Are you the type of Mox Opal that goes with Witchclaw Talisman, or the kind that goes with Chalice of the Void? Because they're both bad for me. Oh. That was weird. I'm gonna Ponder, of course, after drawing another land, of course. Check it out. Brainstorm Narsa. This is what I'm talking about. These hands are fine. And my opponent, I think this is Storm. Just the way that they are, the fact that they kept this hand at all and the way they're playing it are both indicative of Storm play patterns to me. Spell Pierce, happy to see that. Like, unless they kept an 8-cast hand and just counted their mana wrong. Okay, yeah, this looks like Storm. Gonna have to spend my Spell Pierce here, which they cannot pay for, and this will also keep the Opal off. Yeah, this looks like a Tony Scaponi deck. Gonna go for a Narset in case they are a wheel deck. I'll grab another Narset. I think that's better than Minskin Boo here. Just finding more selection from Monolith. That one resolves. Opal's on now. I'll take key. Uh-oh. Certainly have a lot of mana. We are getting Karned right now. Sure. I am a Prismatic Ending deck with 4 colors. depending on what they put in front of me right now. Karn's making a wish. They got the liquid metal coating. That's a bummer because they can Rashad and port me with it, and then I can't prismatic ending. They could also Rashad and port Narset, which is a cool thing you can do. Let's see what the target is. They're going after a land, sure. I would rather activate Narset, so we got a deal. Oh no! Missed on Narset, that sucks. Brainstorm, find me the gas. Or I could play Fable. I think I am going to rock the Fable. They're going to start destroying my lands. And I can't use the treasures yet, but this is at least something that attacks Karn. That Narset whiff was a tough one. My lands start to die now. Manifold Key. Grim Monolith is now good for zillions. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so they're going on full mana denial, which I don't have a problem with. Good play. I can brainstorm with this land now, which I couldn't do last turn. Terminus, not really interested in that. Not interested in any of these cards. Savannah and Terminus can go back. I guess I'm drawing the Terminus anyway, because that's what phase of the turn it is. I guess I'm drawing all these cards because that's how this works. Discard Terminus and Pluto Delta. All these cards are back. Back Karn for 2. Maybe I should have kept that Minskin Boo that I looked at briefly. I'm going to play the other Narset now. Let's find some gas. Staff, Fable, and a Swords. Fable doesn't work. Fable puts more power into play. I'm going to do that. I will have 3 mana next turn, even if they do the trick again. They can't wish for Lattice because they lose their Karn. Building a Tundra. You have Traders. Scary. Haywire Might. Okay, that can kill my Fable. And it can block. Both are annoying things. Ooh, they didn't port me. Interesting. So I can clear Karn. Too late for that. White. Yeah, they clicked through my upkeep. Kind of the nuts. I'm going to activate Narset first. On Force and Negation. Happy to see that. White, blue, green, red. You know what's happening. Get rid of this Karn. That's exciting. I don't think this is a blue deck. If there are less cards in hand, our Force blue card, they got me good. But I just don't think that's the case. I get to attack, make a treasure. They can block, sack, exile, reflection. That's fine. The damage is done here. One of the things about prison decks, if you blink for a second and let shields down where shields were up previously, it can be catastrophic. I'll take another prismatic ending and a Sylvan Library here. Next turn I can play Library and Fable. I can force the negation in the meantime. I don't know how I would ever successfully Spell Pierce this board, but I have Spell Pierce if they get super rowdy. Assault Monolith, okay. That doesn't go infinite yet. Another Karn, well, you know I have this, so I'm going to use it. Okay, opponent's Hellbent. But they did find a Saga this turn, and their deck does stuff. They got a lot of, I imagine, game-ending top decks. Mystic Forge, another Karn, all that kind of stuff is real bad for me. They did let me untap with Reflection, which lets me copy Goblin. Put some extra damage on the board. This will pay for itself because I get a treasure. I'm hoping that they block sack in combat and let me stick my Sylvan Library. That's why I'm doing this in the order I'm doing it. I don't want to have to spend Prismatic Ending on this. Okay, so that all happened. And I guess I'm still going to say Prismatic Ending, whatever. This one Haywire Might is not going to stabilize versus Fable and Reflection and Sylvan Library. And do I want to hit any of these cards with the Prismatic Ending? I don't think that I do. I'm just going to pass and hope that I'm alive. They are end-step mighting, it looks like. There's green in the pool. Taking out my Sylvan Library, sure. Okay. End-step might is 2 damage that they took because they didn't block with it. All right, please don't rip a banger. Oh no. Yeah, that's a banger. Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay, so they are probably an Echo deck. That's good news. That I have Narset in play. Fence Grid, the shields are already down. Go nuts. And by go nuts, I mean hit a land and stop. They already exiled one land. They can untap Forge twice and exile more cards. They hit one of their hits. But they've passed the turn. Good, good. I'm going to loot away this Scalding Tarn. I like the Prismatic Ending. Terminus is not embarrassing either. Okay, this construct will be enormous. I think I want to make a Goblin and attack. Attack with all my creatures. They can make a giant blocker, but I can remove it if I need to. This makes a ton of mana. Yorion Flickering. All my non-token permanents might even be the line here. Make a Gigundo. 10-10. I guess I'm going to have to remove that because it's pretty close to lethal. So they go to 3 on this attack. And then second main, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 mana to play with. Don't really want to let them have Mystic Forge for another turn, but I also am close to dead to these constructs. If they make a second construct, Tutor Shadow Spear, I don't think I can play a game where they have Mystic Forge for a whole extra turn. White, blue, green, red. Get rid of Forge. I just hope my 6 life holds up. I think this is the way. If I was going to do this, I probably should have not attack so hard. But I'm in. Let's go. The Shadow Spear, I can Terminus away the board and just start over again. Have some way to go infinite. They grabbed a second LED. Echo. Oh my god, pre-combat. Pre-combat. Let's go. Whoops, you needed to attack the Narset, my friend. She's still in play. Oops. I mean, they did hit the nuts. Their one mystery card in hand was the Echo, and I left the shields down on Narset, so they had a swing there. But, whoops. Okay, Dress Down, Force of Vigor. Once again, Carpet has no hits in the main. Spell Pierce was actually pretty cool that game. All my forces are essential. I need to win the game somehow. I like the Minskin Boost. Terminus seems kind of mid. And Plow doesn't seem great either, but it's probably better than Terminus. I suspect I'll have more creatures than my opponent most of the time. I don't think I want Surgicals for this matchup. You would have to counter something with Force of Will or hit it with Force of Vigor, because Force of Negation and all my removal exile. This hand is pretty soft. My opponent kept 7. I'm gonna mulligan. Okay, I will keep on the strength of Spell Pierce. I just want literally something to do against this Turbo Mono Brown combo deck. City of Traders Defense Grid. Okay, never mind. That's right in. I can end step a Dress Down still. That's still on my turn. Grim Monolith. How dead am I? Manifold Key. Uh-oh. Looking pretty dead. And Karn. Cool. They could have turned 1 that Karn and took a turn off to Defense Grid instead, and I believe it was the right call. I think it's fair to say. They grabbed Lion's Eye Diamond. So they're planning to combo still? What can I do? I guess I can end step Dress Down, and then we'll just see where this game goes. I don't even know if this is good, but it's what's happening. Okay, off we go. Here's the LED. Saga that kills City of Traders. They could just lattice me here. Probably what's actually happening. Okay, cool. Yep, they just took the straight line to lattice. That makes sense. GG. We were not winning that one. For that one, even if we had Force in the opener, they tested with Defense Grid, which functions as Duress when it's not functioning as Defense Grid. I will keep this one. I have Force Blue card and 2 meaningful pieces of interaction. This is a big deal. Now I can clear a Defense Grid on curve or waste their mana out from under them and hold up force throughout. Remember, we narrowly won game 1 after they just didn't do anything for 2 entire turns. That's how game 1 went, in case we need a reminder. I'm just going to waste this Saga. This is not a card I want to play against. I could also end the E right now, which fucks up Opal. That's kind of the big money play when there's probably a safe money play, which is the Prismatic ending back. I don't know. I like big money. This does mean I don't get to fetch red right away, but I am going to try to just collapse their draw here. Ancient Tomb from Monolith. Okay. I did successfully collapse their draw at least a little bit there. I still have force for their payoff. Here's the Karn. It is going to come at the cost of my Narset, unfortunately. I was a turn short of pushing for Yorion. I'm just going to plow this idiot. It's an artifact sitting in play turning on Opal when they just committed their Monolith to a line that didn't work. This is the game plan I want in my life. Holy moly. Talking about game plans I want in my life. From the top rope. The engine's online. I was just going to wish for Yorion, but now I get to do stuff. Manifold Key, that's a really good draw. Or a really good play. They might have had it. So I guess they would have played it last turn if they had it. They left Mox Opal unplayed on their turn. Okay, well. The second Karn, nobody's ever ready for. I do have a second force, but no blue card. Yorion is a blue card for next turn. Karn plus target nothing. Prismatic Ending, normally a good card, currently a bad card. I'm probably going to end the... I'm going to attack Karn. I think I am going to end the Manifold Key. That's just worth so much mana. I mean, they can just wish for it again with Karn. But let's shut it down in the meantime. I am not ahead in this game, but we are still playing the game. Mystic Forge, what the shit? Can't catch a break around here. I am going to force this. Karn can do whatever. Karn just plussed again. I'm in the, the Uro market. There's red mana for... Now I'm in the Minsc and Boo market. I'm going to attack Karn again. Maybe I should be putting some effort towards their face, because Ancient Tomb is their only mana source. This City of Trader is pretty good. Now they can just lattice me. Great. Okay, well, that's the end of the game. GG. Okay, I fended off 2 busted 4-drops, but not 3. This is a bad matchup for this deck, for sure. I don't like this matchup, or this type of matchup at 60 cards, and it's even worse at 80. But we made a fight out of it. On to the next one. The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting Commander events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 4-player Swiss-structured tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no downloads required. You can get access for just $5 at eminence.events/subscribe. On the play in round 3 with kind of a shitter. I'm going to keep this, even though this is not the type of hand I'm excited about. I would rather have a Ponder than any one of these cards at random. But having both Spell Pierce and Plow that I can do on the play on turn 1, that lets me interact for 1 mana with all decks. I don't think there's a single deck that cares about neither of those cards. And Wasteland is also cheap interaction, so as far as hands that don't have a real game plan or any selection go, this one is pretty good. Opponent's on 5. Go to 5. Misty Rainforest is weird. Okay, now I have extra shields up to not die. And Yorion's always over here in the command zone. I can always spend 8 mana for a 4/5 creature if nothing else comes together. Island Brainstorm. Okay, I mean, I have the chance to be a monster, so I'm going to do it. And them going to 5 and then playing a Misty Rainforest Brainstorm. I'm suspecting Sneak and Show, I guess. And while hitting Show and Tell with Brainstorm is also good, them missing their second land drop is very good for me. And this pivots into Hardcast Force of Negation, or I could just play this Ponder I drew. I'm in for that. I'm going to shuffle this. I think I have enough of this sort of thing. shuffled into Force of Will, Motobug, rocking out, on display at all times. And the fact they missed their land drop means this Wasteland's going to be devastating if their next land drop can be poked with it. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, you don't say. Okay, fetch. Probably should have played Wasteland before the fetch. If I just get stifled here, I'm going to be inconsolable. That did not happen, though. I'm going to use Wasteland to cast Uro and leave up white, because that's the spell I actually have. Okay, force, blue card, and Swords to Plowshares in my hand. 2 engines online, Uro in my graveyard, and Staff in my hand. Screwbeats flood, but I'm not exactly flooded. I'm just functioning and they're not. A fetch land turns on everything. Okay, I think I like Narset better than Staff of the Storyteller here. There's a 3rd engine and one that messes up their live draws to get out of this. Force pitching Cephalid Illusionist. That's good to know. Okay, that's what they're doing. I am going to force back. I have the Plow that can stuff their combo, and Narset being in play just takes so many options away from them. I'm going to add Spell Pierce to my hand over Plow or Force. I don't want to have to find a blue card for Force, and I already have a Plow. And they're continuing to miss land drops. Rakus is great. That lets me activate my Staff on another Staff. It's going to take them multiple turns to function, but I think I'd still rather play the Staff. All right, we are operational here. I'm not going to play the other Staff. I'd rather draw a card and then charge them both up next turn. Leave up Spell Pierce and Plow. Okay, we found a Cephalid Illusionist off of a land that resolves. I have Plow for this. Do I want to draw a card? I think I just want to Plow this. Right now, when Spell Pierce is live, and then I know what I have to look for next turn. That just worked. Count it. This Wasteland is nasty. I'm going to draw a card with Staff first. Oh, that's nasty too. I've got options. No shortage of options. This Underground Sea could have been bait for an Urza Saga in their hand, but I think I'm just mushing at this point, and I don't even care if I did get baited. They are a Daze deck. I really wanted to hit a land drop there. Disappointing. Put back Terminus and Minskin-Boo. I don't think they can win from this spot, and if they want to Daze their 1 land back, go for it. It's a 3-mana combo, even at its most efficient, even if they are ready to just shove. And they miss land drops for thousands of years. Yeah, they're just failing to function over there. Good bet. I am going to ponder looking for land drops. Found my land. I'm in no rush to get crazy here and make a mistake. I can just draw 2 cards in the end step. One of them's Force of Will. And then I'm turtled up, ready to shove Minskin-Boo and win the game. Because they're so gated on mana, they'll have to put one of their combo pieces into play before they can put the other one in, which gives me multiple turns to Prismatic Ending them. I was busy narrating and forgot what my top card is, but I'm pretty sure I didn't want it. Let me get... Oh, that was supposed to be Savannah. It's alright. Luckily, we're far enough ahead that I'm not thinking about it, which is loose, and I shouldn't play that way, but it currently doesn't matter. There's a green source anyway. I shove Minskin-Boo, which will charge the staves and put a giant clock on. And they have to win through Force, blue card, and Spell Pierce now. And they've seen the Spell Pierce, so they know that even if they force this, they're going to get BTFO'd. But they oblige all the same. Spell Pierce and Flusterstorm. Okay. I am not going to fight over this Minskin-Boo. Force of Will would win this counter war, but I have another one of these in my hand, and I continue to push for damage. And against this combo deck, when I'm this far ahead, I'm not taking any risks at all. Draw, go again. Still missing land drops. Tough performance from my opponent over there. And here's the other big stupid Planeswalker. Okay, they've had enough. Tough game. Press down, surgical, all my red blasts. Finally found a blue opponent. Carpet's fine. Force of Vigor is interesting. They are there's a Saga deck that also plays Shuko. We didn't get to see a whole lot of their deck. We don't know if they're a Stoneforge build or not. I don't think we're really a Terminus matchup. I'd rather have all this spot removal and graveyard hate than a Terminus. Narset's solid, Force of Negation solid. Spell Pierce good, Plow good. They are a blue deck for carpet purposes, but I don't think we're really a carpet matchup. They're not going to be squeezing my options at all, other than Daze if they're being hyper proactive. I think this matchup is too fast for our fun of Sylvan Library. Loam does matter in the matchup because Wasteland can lock them. I'm going to have to start cutting win conditions if I want these last two cards in. 1 Uro, 1 Minsk, or Staff. Maybe Staff is the clunker here, and I keep my actual win conditions. Staff is like a solid engine and a bad win condition, where all my other things are both good win conditions and good engines. Yeah, I think it's Staff. I'm a little worried about Teferi. I think it's Staff again. I like Fable a lot. So maybe Fable is worse than Staff, just because it costs 3. I'll split the difference there, because I'm not fully decided on it. Okay, no interaction, tons of selection. This is the type of hand where my opponent casts Daze and I die instantly. Yeah, I'm not going to be fooled by this hand. All that value. Okay, Plow, Red Blast, Force Blue card. Already a million times better. I think I send the Uro. So Uro is a blue card that I don't have to... that I get to keep Brainstorm. Okay, I'm going to bottom Ending, actually. It's just the least efficient card in my hand. And if I have to force something, I don't want to lose Brainstorm. Basic Island again, and Ponder. Go for it. Excellent choice of Ponders. This card is so pretty in real life. Especially foil. Staff of the Storyteller. Okay, I need land number 2, but that's the only thing this hand is hurting for. They did choose to shuffle that Ponder, by the way. They kept a 7-card hand. Where's the Saga? Okay, folks. And another Ponder. This is a spot where I would consider end-step Brainstorm. Sucks that it gets dazed, but if I spike my land off the Brainstorm, I can Staff. But if I just draw for my turn, it's so much better. I'm going to draw for my turn. Okay, not rewarded. I have more white sources than red ones in my deck, so I'm going to use the red source to Brainstorm. Come on, deck! I hate you so much. Okay. I'll put back these 2 cards, and I don't even get to go to discard and lose an Uro. I am just chilling with my shields down. Well, my shields are up, but I'm missing land drops and I'm Brainstorm locked against an Urza Saga. If they just don't cast any spells and commit to letting Saga run its course, they're going to win this game easily. If they start trying to shove a combo and ignore the Saga, that's a game that I might be able to wade through. Okay, I will discard Uro to hand size in the end step. Second basic island, we know about that one now. Clean up, discard Uro. Now what I hope for this turn is that they get greedy and just float mana, tutor Shuko, and try to shove their combo, and they don't make another construct. Because the read here is I have 7 spells in my hand, because I just went to hand size without discard, or without making a land drop for 2 turns in a row. Cycling a step through, okay. Yeah, no shortage of interaction in my hand. Tundra. I'm going to Pyroblast this thing on the stack. Counter target spell if it's blue. I fully expect at least 1 piece of permission here, or else they wouldn't have done this. Force pitching Narcomoeba. Force of negation pitching Uro. I'm negationing now because if they have a second Illusionist next turn, I'm going to need Force of Will. Drawing my other Staff of the Storyteller now, and then I'm in trouble if my next card is not a white source. Played a land, Cabal Therapy. This probably names Force, and they have a creature they could flashback. If they have it here, they have it. They don't even need to be right about Cabal Therapy. Name Carpet of Flowers. That was a weird name. That makes me think they don't have the combo. Like, why would you care about Carpet of Flowers if we're not going to play a long game from here? Okay, White Source off the top, from the top rope. Alright, B-Storm, bring me home, buddy. Okie dokie. The game is back. I do like this Red Blast, but I kind of need white mana now. Yeah, I have to shuffle this. If I put back one of the staves, and it sucks to put back a land after I work so hard to find a land, but staff is my engine. Yeah, maybe I just use Force Blue card and get rid of the Red Blast. There's already an Uro in my graveyard, so I want Savannah here. And I want to plow this construct before it can be sacked to Cabal Therapy, because they know everything they need to know right now. If they can beat a Force of Will, if they draw a Daze and have an Illusionist, or vice versa, they win. But I'm doing what I can right now. And if they have nothing, I'm going to start playing the game. Alrighty, folks. Even drew an extra white source so I can draw a card right away. Okay, we're doing it. I can fetch Tundra, draw a card, and then escape Uro next turn, and they still have to get through a Force of Will to combo me out. And they pitched a Narcomoeba of Force earlier, so they might not have everything they want in their deck. Oh god. Well, I have to force this. It's this or it's nothing ever. Okay, they're cracking. If they have Illusionist, they did it. I could still YOLO Spike Surgical Extraction. Okay, cool. This is great. Fetch Tundra, draw a card, and cool. My shields are down, but they clearly don't have Illusionist, or they would have played it this turn. That was a wide open window to win the game. Oh, sick. I can escape Uro, buy back a spell. I can't Prismatic Ending also. Okay, I'm gonna Tropical Island, Prismatic Ending, the Shuko, put Yorion in my hand. Taking them off of just any A kills me to they have to reassemble A plus B. I think this is a better long-term game. Okay, they've passed the turn. Do have 3 islands. I'm gonna Mystic Sanctuary, targeting Pyroblast. I like Pyroblast more than Plow because Pyroblast also hits Teferi, which is the card that beats Plow. They could hardcast Force here, but if they do, it's a Force they don't have. And if they don't, Uro's gonna go nuts. My Pyroblast, and we're cooking. Another land. That's not what they want. Another land for me is not so bad. I'm gonna attack first, use Uro to put this land into play, in case I find a cantrip and want to use my land drop some other way. Okay, they're at 10. Yorion does change the clock. I'm gonna just put it into play as a big bird. Flicker, nothing. They have to combo me out through a Pyroblast this turn with 2 cards in their hand, plus whatever they draw right now. If their hand is exactly Teferi, Shuko, Illusionist, they're gonna get me. Anything else, I'm fine. Nomads, okay. Or double Illusionist would do it too. Daze doesn't work. They can't have Force and blue card in a 2-card hand. Oh my god, if they have it. Well, I mean, this is the moment. I have to counter this. Did you get there? Oh, they're passing the turn. They had 2 out of 3. Prismatic Ending will clear the blocker and let me get in for 10 this turn. Also clears a combo piece even if I don't get in for 10. But it looks good from here. That is a scary matchup that we just navigated in Malta 5, no function game 1, and then a pretty good back and forth game 2. GG's. Okay, officially on the board. Let's roll. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I'm on the play for round 4 with a tasty little Island Ponder hand. I'm going to keep it. It needs white, but welcome to playing a 4-color deck with Wasteland in it. Oh no, opponent's mulling to 5. Mulling to 4. Mulling to 3. Okay, opponent's on 3 cards. What the hell am I doing with that information? I'm casting Ponder. If I can find a force effect, I'm in. I'm going to shuffle these cards I can't cast. I mean, 3 is a shockingly small number of cards. If it's just into Dark Ritual and Tomb Reanimate, that would actually win the game. Let's hope they got to put a little more work into that, at least like looting and give me a chance. Thoughtseize, targeting yourself. Shouldred, Reanimate. Okay. So their hand is Reanimate. I just need to find a white source or a force, and I win the game. The second Wasteland. All right, Brainstorm, don't be a jerk. Any fetch land, please. Oh my god. We're going to die to a Shouldred with Swords to Plowshares in our hand. That's what's going to happen right now. I did find Ponder that can look for more action, but it's going to come at the cost of life in against the Shouldred, but I mean, that's the cost of doing business. The second I find a white source, the game is over, but in the meantime, the 2 of Wasteland really jacking me up here. And Ponder is at least more forgiving than Brainstorm, so in terms of everything going wrong, things are actually going okay here. Alright, Ponder's going to see 1 card I already know about, 2 new ones. There we go. Sweet, merciful. Poseidon. Okay, I'll draw that. I'll take my damage, and then I'll Swords to Plowshares this thing, and we can get out of here. Really glad that was Shouldred and not a real creature. I mean, Shouldred's pretty beefy, but you know what I mean. If that was Grizzlebrand or Atraxa, forget it. Thundra, Swords to Plowshares, go away, please. And then I can Narset or Uro next turn. Probably going to Narset. They've got 2 basic swamps, and they're top decking. They don't have A or B currently. My top card is Minskin Boo, which is good. I could Sylvan Library and just skip the whole Narset business. Sylvan Library does see a lot more than Narset does over a shorter period of time. Or over a longer period of time, at a greater cost to myself. Library can find lands, though, and Narset can't. I'm going with Library. If their hand right now is Dark Ritual Shouldred, I guess I'm quoting Magic. And Tomb Reanimate's also pretty good. Maybe just, you know, don't. Your hand is like 2 Faithless Lootings you can't cast, or 2 monsters that you can't leverage right now. Okay, I drew 2 cards that I cannot cast. I'm gonna put both of them on top. They are not worth any life to me. And I'm gonna play Narset and clear these cards. Force of Negation is a good one to be in my hand here. Library sees all fresh ones next turn, plus a Narset activation, plus Uro's ready. Force backup at this point. Now Faithless Looting is just discard 2 cards if they even have access to that. Okay. I'm going to put Mystic Sanctuary on top. And then I'm going to pay 4 life for Minskin Boo and just get to work here. Activate Narset, found Fable. Balk. You wish I was casting Fable. Ka-chow! Okay, let's win the game now. Please and thank you. And they are up to 4 cards. There's a lot of 4-card combinations of things that could put a real monster into play here. And if they can get a monster into play, it's pretty scary. Grizzlebrand can't draw extra cards. Atraxa can. They both trade with Minskin, or both trade with a 7/7 Boo in combat. They would have to get through Force of Negation to do all that. Found a staff and 2 lands. I don't think I need these cards. Alright, opponent's had enough. Appreciate that. That was just a matter of procedure at that point. Okay, kind of scary. If that Grizzlebrand was anything else, we would not have won that game. 2 Surgicals and Priest definitely coming in. Carpet of Flowers. We're 1 for 4 on that one, being a card in our deck with real text on it. I don't hate Dress Down. It's just, what am I going to cut? Terminus is removal. for a large number of scary monsters. Prismatic Ending is probably where I don't need to be for this matchup. Sometimes they play like Magus of the Moon and that kind of thing as a juke, or Dothy Voidwalker, but I still have all my Plows Terminus in. One Prismatic Ending seems fine. Yeah, it's a tight little package here. The Priest and the 2 Surgicals are no-brainers. Then I do think Dress Down is better than Prismatic Ending, and we're just back in. It's generous of these League opponents not to be playing blue decks, so I don't have to think that hard about my sideboard full of Pyroblast. Snap keep this one. Opponent kept 7 as well. That's scary. I hate when Reanimator keeps 7. I have 2 pieces of interaction plus Island Ponder. Send it. Okay, just a Bloodstained Mire go from the opponent. I will cast Ponder here off of Tundra. I do have white cards in the deck, and I like casting them. Kind of in the business for just another colored source here. Just some fetch land. That's not some fetch land. It is 3 Ponders, though. Or Ponder number 2 and 3. I'm actually going to roll with this. It's a blue card for force and additional selection next turn. I'm not memeing for the brand here. I actually do think keeping that stack of Ponders is fine. Getting some action. There was no end step in Tomb. They're fetching on their own turn here. Bot seizing me. Okay, have a look. I could force this, but I think each of my blue cards in my hand is worth more than the information that I have Surgical Extraction in my hand. Did take force. Didn't play a land. That's terrifying. They either saw Wasteland and decided it's not worth it to play a land, or they're just gassed up on spells and they're going to show and tell me next turn. Excited to find this red source, and I think I'd rather hold up the known action on Surgical and then the out to Brainstorm at instant speed than to cast Ponder right now. I do kind of like the Fable on top of my deck. So Narset's also in my hand, and I'm not casting Fable next turn if I could cast Narset, so I am going to shuffle this, almost certainly. Okay, opponent does have Show and Tell. That's what's happening right now. Okay, I will fetch for a green land, and then cast Brainstorm. Brainstorm, show me the goods. I can play Minskin Boo next turn, if there is a next turn. I don't think Wasteland's going to be my strategy this game. So if I put back Wasteland and Narset, I could Surgical them just to see what they're putting in and make a decision after that information. I mean, I'm putting in Uro. There's no other play here, so I don't need to do that. The Uro comes in. I could Surgical myself, try to spike a Swords of Plowshares off the top. I don't think that's what I want to be doing, though. I'm going to put in Flooded Strand, shuffle away Wasteland, and then I have Ponders. And I'm not going to Surgical in response because the Surgical is keeping them from having a second wave if they try to go through the graveyard on a second thing here. Or they could Show and Tell again, and I am just dead. Unmask target me. Okay, I mean, Surgicaling here doesn't change anything, so if they take Surgical and then reanimate a monster, they got me. That appears to be the plan. Going to 3. Fascinating. Did I board in any lightning bolts? I don't think so. Minskin Boo is almost a lightning bolt. If they go to 1 for some reason, I can win. Another Show and Tell. Blah. Okay, I'll put in my Savannah. Get Atraxa. Atraxa revealed. Bayou Shouldered, Voidwalker, Archon, Shallow Grave, another Voidwalker, Show and Tell, Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn. Okay. So my removal spells, I was right about the Voidwalker juke, the Show and Tell juke. I could go deeper on Pyroblast against. All of my Terminuses are still in the deck. I did that on purpose for a moment like this. So Shallow Grave, Emrakul, Unmask, and Catacombs. Unmask, pitching, reanimate, targeting yourself, and I'm going to get Shallow Graved right now with the Emrakul. Yep, that's how this works. Brief Thoughtseize, some Entombs, Chancellor, and Collective Brutality. Okay, we're learning a lot about their deck. We are about to lose, though. I cannot win this game from 0 permanents, and the Annihilator is enough here. Okay. A nice little juke around my show and tell. A couple of red blasts in the deck makes sense. Don't want to go too heavy. Cutting Prismatic Ending. We also saw Voidwalker, where Swords to Plowshares is good. Maybe Fable is a little too clunky here. If I want another Pyroblast, how worried am I about show and tell? I could cut a Staff or a Fable. I think Fable is the worst of the two. Yep, not pretty, but here we are. They're making me respect a lot of plans, which is the point of a juke. Okay, force blue card. Terminus. I will keep this. This beats one discard spell because they have double force and another blue card. Can't imagine they have Cabal Therapy in their deck. They kept 7 again. We're already dead. Thoughtseize, here it comes. We're prepared for this. They probably take Narset, unless they have another discard spell to take the other force. But if they can't get me off both forces, I would take Narset. That way force has to pitch force. Okay, they're just working through the forces. That tells me they plan to cast another discard spell this game. Nice. Engine online. Okay, so every dual land is blue or Savannah. There's no Taiga, no Plateau, so I can't get all 4 colors here. I do have to pick a commitment. I'm gonna get Tundra Trop. Tundra Trop are online. Staff of the Storyteller. They have to get through a Force of Will to kill me next turn. If they have a pitch discard spell, that's pretty trivial, honestly. But getting this engine under them before we're imminent death is upon us is nice. Any way to see another card and survive another turn, I'm into. Staff's in there. We're charged up. They have perfect information. Lotus Petal. And they're just passing with Lotus Petal. Okay, so they can't beat Force yet. That's what they're telling me. I'm going to attack with my 1/1, and I'm just going to hold up for the turn. Dress Down could stop me from dying all at once, at least. Like, we've seen Shallowgrave Embercool in their deck. Dress Down can stuff that line, even through a discard spell. Can buy me a turn against Grizzlebrand draws. And if they don't do anything, I'll just draw a card with Staff. And now I have a card they don't know about. And the one point of flying is not to be underestimated. They did win last game at 3 life. If I can get 3 attacks in with this thing, that line is gone. And they know I drew a spell. And they're passing the turn. They might be on a go to discard plan. You know I don't love an end-step Brainstorm, but it could set up Terminus in the future, or I could just hit my land drop now. I'm going to go for the land drop now. Cool. Bounce Surgical. And put this Terminus in here for later. Okay, so I have to draw the land, and then I can play Narset. And I would like to shuffle first. They currently don't know about my other blue card. Volcanic Island, shove Narset. They don't know about Surgical or my other blue card here. They know about Forest Minskin. If they have discard spell Show and Tell, they're gassed up. If they have to go through the graveyard, I now have 2 layers. Narset gets to activate. Show me some action. Another Force. Hell yeah. Okay, now a discard spell doesn't take me off Force blue card either. And if they have been setting up a go to discard line to get something in the bin where I can't counter it, the Surgical is going to be a huge blowout. Thoughtseize. Alright, have a look. Can't take me off Force. When this Thoughtseize resolved, they'll be at 13, which means that if Grizzlebrand is the play, they can't draw cards. If Reanimate Grizzlebrand is the play, they can't draw cards. Well, I have Narset in play, so they can't do that anyway. Hope they do try to draw cards this turn. That would be great. Taking Dress Down. Don't like that. Okay, I'm getting a turn. Narset, activate. I drew a blue card. Any blue card gives me double force. And if I spike any blue card off this Narset, cool, another Narset. Now I have force blue card, which means I feel good shoving Minskin, which also charges the Staff. So they have to get through double force and Surgical to win the game. And they are now under real pressure to do so. +1 counters on Boo. And we're going in there. Pretty good setup here, but they do have 7 spells in their hand. We'll see if they can punch through. Reanimate is basically off at this point. They can still reanimate Atraxa, I guess, and be at 1. But then they die to Boo. Pitching Thoughtseize. Okay. Grief is going to see these 2 Force of Wills and 2 blue cards. I hope it will be them experiencing grief, not me. If they try to reanimate Grief, okay. We've got an Unmask as well. Also targeting me, okay. I mean, here come the fireworks. If they show and tell now, they're doing it. 2 forces gone all at once. Dark rituals happening. There's nothing in there to surgical that would impact this in any way. Oh, it's just Shouldred? Deal. Okay. You have me worried, opponent. Okay, I am going to make the Hammy. Put a charge on Staff. Draw for turn. Shouldred hurts me. I'm going to plus Boo, force a chump block. All these pokes with the Spirit, force a chump block here. That does trade with Boo, but it's fine. They kind of blew their action there, and it didn't win the game. Okay, cool. Twice now, Shouldred. In the 2 games I won, they punched a hole and made a monster, and it was Shouldred, and it wasn't good enough. I like Shouldred as a mid-range juke in these sort of decks. I just wonder... I mean, I haven't seen their whole deck. I've seen a lot of it. But I wonder how much they've lost on power level of nut draws to include Shouldred in their main deck. Whatever, though. Win on the board. We are now back to 2-2. Final record, or final match coming. Positive record on the line. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. On the draw for the final round, playing for a positive record, I am going to keep this hand. I wish that Terminus was literally any blue card, but I'm going to rock out here. Looks like we got some Death Shadow. I no longer wish the Terminus was any blue card. I wish this Force Will was any white card. Let's go the other way on that one. He did not shuffle. Okay, I've drawn 2 Fable the Mirror Breaker. It's a lot of that card to have. Watery Grave number 2. Definitely confirmed Death Shadow. It's not Doomsday. Turok is going to resolve. They took my 2 lands. Get out of here. No. Well, that was the best possible. They just resolved 2 Thoughtseizes that could take lands if they wanted to. And now we're in fucking trash. Oh my god. Turok is singing a song today. Cycling a Wraith. Thoughtseize will certainly take Prismatic Ending. What a hymn to Turok. That's a legendary run. If anybody's out there compiling a BoshNRoll Bad Beats compilation, put that one on it. We have another Thoughtseize as well. The first one took Force. This one's going to take Ending. Oh wow, Terminus. Okay. We are not on that plan. We have some Planeswalker? Like, what's going on here? Okay, I drew a land. They're working with perfect information, but that's fine. Oh, it's probably Murktide Regent. That's what they're doing. They don't care about ending. And that puts the exact number of spells in the... Yep, that's what it is. Okay. I'm caught up now. About Swords to Plowshares or land. Not Minskin Boo! Alright, that whiff probably ends the game. If I had been able to Fable and take an extra look, maybe we're doing something. I gotta assume they have some interaction in their hand. Force or Daze. Yeah, they didn't play a land or a creature. I can fetch, go to 10, Tundra, drop, bulk, I guess is what I get here. Because if I fetch all islands, a fetch land could represent Terminus. I don't think I have enough time for that, but I mean, it's there, technically. Brainstorm in response. They didn't immediately daze it. This one's pretty interesting because obviously it's card selection and it's a creature on the board and it's extra mana. It's a lot of things that this deck doesn't want to give me, but it's also not Swords to Plowshares, where if they have 1 Force of Will, then maybe... Okay, that makes me think they have 2 Force of Wills, if they were willing to snap that off. They could also have Wasteland and just take me off white. That would do it too. Death Shadow as a 4/4. Okay, Swords of Plowshare is still the card I want to draw. Terminus is pretty good too. What do we got? Deck, help me out. Misty Rainforest is not it. And we're dead. Okay. Oh, that Hymn to Turok. If we play this exact same game, but 2 turns earlier, I think we're ahead. Okay, Carpet of Flowers, come on in. Force of Negation, get out. I like all my white cards. Don't love Force of Will, but I should expect Turok. Both the guy himself and him. How do I beat Turok? I have Terminus and Dress Down beats Turok. I want Dress Down and some Pyroblast over my forces. There's no Veil of Summer in this board, which is what you really want in this matchup. Spell Pierce lines up favorably against him to Turok. This is a matchup you could totally just die with Pyroblast in your hand, and they cast all black cards. Oh, sometimes they have Court of Cunning, but I'm not going to bring in Force of Vigor for that. That's what Pyroblast is for. Carpet of Flowers is my real hero here. Alright, I'm just going to try to outmuscle them. 2 lands. I got the Spell Pierce. I'm in. Uro is where I want to be in this matchup for the most part. Spell Pierce lining up favorably against him to Turok. It's really the only card in my deck that does that. So let's party. A white removal spell to top it all off. I think I have to Spell Pierce the Thoughtseize even. I won't Spell Pierce a Ponder. They are a Wasteland deck. I need to respect that in my fetching. Yeah, I'm just going to basic land Spell Pierce here. Spell Pierce, or Thoughtseize is going to take Brainstorm out of this hand, would be my guess. And I would really like to resolve Brainstorm before it's too late. Oh, hello, Terminus. Nice of you to reveal yourself in my draw step. Okay, I can hide Terminus on top of the deck. If they hit me now, my hand will be a high density of Uro, Titan of Nature's Wraths to go straight to the graveyard. And I do want to Brainstorm in this end step. I would like to get Uro online, especially if it hits an extra land drop. Terminus back into the deck, and I don't think I'll need 2 Uros. Generally, if they can answer it at all, it's through Surgical Extraction, which would get the one out of my hand anyway, and it's better off in my deck. I think this is a Savannah Tundra situation. Or I could get Volk. No, I want to double up on green. Nope. That doesn't do what I asked either. I fetched a basic land, so everything that's happening right now I deserve. Like, do I want to insulate green, insulate white, or get red online? I think I want to insulate white. Yeah. My initial instinct turns out to be the correct one. Here's Uro. Can I get a land? I will even put in Mystic Sanctuary. I don't care. Just need to get ahead of these dazes and junk. You've got a Brainstorm. Getting ahead of Daze and Wasteland is step 1 in the matchup. This is where I become concerned about them shoving Court of Cunning into play. But I do have Narset to stop the Monarch and Prismatic Ending to remove the mill. And getting milled for 20 is not a big deal in this deck. It actually feeds the Uros. Watergrave Fetch. Here's a Strix. That one I don't mind. Misty. What are we doing with this? Can't Shadow yet. Ponder. That's fine. Would love to find a green source without needing to Brainstorm for it. If I can cast Uro around Daze this turn, I'm in. We did it. Bummer. Okay. Well, I could Brainstorm and get a free shuffle here, but it's fine. Yeah, I'll just resolve Narset instead. But they did have the Surgical, which is good because they needed it. I mean, good for them, bad for me. I don't think Brainstorming to spike my other Spell Pierce is the line here. I have Fables. 1 Fable? Oh no, I left them all in. It was last round I cut Fables. Okay, I have Fables, Minskin Booze. I can still win the game. And Stabs. Fables, Minskin Booze, and Stabs. That's a lot of action. Narset, Parter of Veils. Cast her off my mono blue lands that have conveniently arrived this game. Force of Negation, pitching Baleful Strix. This one I will take a little look for. See if I can find Spell Pierce. Just another Narset. Unlucky. Put back Tundra and Prismatic Ending. So I could use this as a full value brainstorm, which is just shuffle away the lands. Or I could get clever and hide my good cards on top of my deck from discard. Then what are my good cards? Because there are arguments for all of the cards in my hand. Narset is probably better in a vacuum than these other cards. All right. Narset on top of Tundra. And then this counterspell works, pitching a Strix, and we're passing. They clearly care about Narset enough to spend 2 cards on it. Another Ponder. Murktide is big this turn. They have seen my hand off of Surgical Extraction. They know I have a Prismatic Ending if I want it. They're not going to rely on Shadow here. I kind of hope they Yuriko me here. That'd be so sick. Surprise Ninja Shadow. No luck. Just a Baleful Strix. Okay. They do have a Shadow. They know that's dead. That's cool with me. Land and Narset. Let's try this again. Narset's in there. I would like to fetch and shuffle away the Tundra, give myself the best chance of hitting a spell I'd like to cast. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, what's up? And I like a Carpet of Flowers, but I don't think it's better than Fable when I already have 6 lands in play. And I'll pass. Brainstorming now, I could hit Plow and keep a point of loyalty on Narset, or I can just have a better brainstorm in the future. That's shock in the end step. 3 cards in their hand. Keep making land drops. That's good for me. They'll put their point on Narset. Now I have the decision, would I like to draw a card off of her and send her packing, or leave her in play, turning off their cantrips? And that will depend on what they do here. If they play Murktide, yeah, I'm gonna dig. Okay. Top of my deck's already random. Swords to Plowshares was the find. I think I still throw Narset. I'm ready to cash in here. This is where she whiffs, and I hate my life. Found another Swords to Plowshares. I think that's better than the Ponder. Plow the big Dargon. Fable. And that Plow just turned off Shadows for a while. I have a second Plow they don't know about. Still rocking out on this Brainstorm if I need to hide stuff from discard. Ooh, Petty Theft in the end step. That is petty. Okay. That's a good answer to a token. I am glad I spent Narset the way that I did. Their last card in hand was not a cantrip anyway. You're brainstorming. As dope as Fable is when your hand is full of lands and junk, it's kind of boring right now when my hand is already full of good cards. Like, do I even do anything here? I could brainstorm first, see what shakes loose. Okay, that became a little more interesting. Like, now I can put back Wasteland Trop, fetch, and then also discard the Polluted Delta. All right, yeah, I like that. It worked out okay. Basically just got 1 extra card worth of value off that Brainstorm. Oh, hello. With 1 card in my opponent's hand, I'm ready to shove. And I know they're a deck that likes their life total to be low, but I like it to be 0. And I gotta win this game somehow. My Uros are gone. Time to attack. And I am just gonna plow this Brazen Borrower in the end step. If their hand is exactly Daze or Flusterstorm, it's fine. But if it's Force of Will, this lets me keep my Boo in play for a turn. I am now F6'd. Cool. Their thing is gone. They didn't shuffle when they brainstormed last turn. What 5-mana spell are you about to jam? Don't love this. Okay, it's just another brainstorm. A card they liked last turn. Ponder. The post-brainstorm Ponder. Are we going to see the usual shuffle here? Build your own fetch land. We're at the stage of the game where discard's not even good, so it's a big chunk of their deck that I'm super worried about early on that now I kind of hope they draw him to Turok. Sure, whatever. Take my Ponder and continue to die to my hamster. Deal. They did not shuffle that Ponder. Found a good one. Wasteland. Okay, taking me off red. Most of my red cards are already in play. If their last card in hand is Murktide, it is bigger than Boo right now. but I can also just hurl Boo for a deal 4, draw 4. Pretty high impact situation. Fable flips. Okay, I mean, I'm gonna ham up first and go to combat, see if they've kept a snuff out. Or another Brazen Borrower. It is another Brazen Borrower, sure. That one's a little annoying. Carpet of Flowers. They have so many of those islands. I was about to say of those things, you know? Them thingos. 5, 6, 7, 8. I have exactly enough to get and deploy Yorion this turn, which I think is worth drawing a fetch land next turn for. Play Wasteland, but don't use it yet. Yes. Make white. Yorion is blue or white. Choose white in this particular instance. Okay, they scooped. The Yorion can flicker Reflection and get me back at the start of the saga, which means I can loot away one of those Flooded Strands, and then it also flickers Minskin Boo, which doesn't really matter this turn, but does put a second main or end step hamster into play. And also just 4 or 5 creatures bigger than everything they're doing, so good concession there. I have seen a bunch of Brazen Borrowers now, which I care about more than I normally do because of Fable. Maybe Sylvan Library is just bad. This is a matchup, like it's 1 out of my 80 cards, and I'm on the draw against a deck that deals a bunch of damage to you. But that's also a huge insulation against discard spells. Seen Surgical, but we expected that one anyway. That doesn't really change anything. Just know that they have it now, which we knew anyway. Library also helps set up Terminus in a really kind of annoying way. Okay. Maybe I cut Spell Pierce and just take my medicine on the discard spells, try to outvalue them. I could cut both Spell Pierces, have all 5 Pyroblasts in the deck, which does stop Murktide Brazen Borrower business. Court of Cunning, if that's a thing. Okay. I am going to give up early game equity for late game equity. Expel Pierce sucks when they have 5 mana late in the game, but Pyroblast still does everything. Okay, keep my hand. It has lands and spells. Here's a Pyroblast that 2 out of 5 chance would have been a Spell Pierce. 40% of the time, we're not getting him to this game. All right, opponent mulled to 5 and then Thoughtseize me. Sure. I'll take that mull to 5 action. Took my staff. Reflection is a cool one that incentivizes me to fetch red even more than I already was. Awkward because you mostly want white in this matchup. Baleful Strix. I'm going to get aggressive here. This exposes me to Wasteland in a way I'm not really happy about, but if you're going to mull to 5, I don't want to give you this tasty little 2 for 1. Ponder, what's up? Right off the tippity top. Savannah, Swords to Plowshares. Okay, I'm going to keep all of these cards. They've seen the Trop. If they're going to waste me, I'd prefer they take out green or red than white. And if they're going to him me, I can brainstorm away the Savannah. Wasteland confirmed. Taking out red, okay. All right, they're all in on a Turbo Murktide, which I have covered with the Plow. Savannah, Plow. Just jam it right now. There's not one card that can stop this. My top card is a fetch land, which gets me Fable or Narset, depending on what they do. Ponder. Goes to Shuffle. Cycle to Wraith. Another Ponder. I think I want Narset here. Oh wow, they just scooped. They're good. You hit land number 3, I'm fine. Okay, so a 3-2 record where one of the losses we timed out in an unwinnable position or an unlosable position. So 3-2 officially, 4-1 for learning purposes. Got absolutely smooshed by Mono Brown combo, which fully expect to be a terrible matchup at all times. I mean, this deck's good. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is the big critical innovation here, and that is worth exploring. I think somebody pointed it out in my last Hot Bant video. Maybe even in 60-card Hot Bant, it's a better thing than Sylvan Library. I like that it's an additional win condition that doesn't care about Karakas or Pyroblast. Those are all upsides. Staff of the Storyteller, I don't think we have room for that one in 60 card, but in this 80 card deck, just another win condition, another engine that also lines up with your existing engines. Very cool. 4 is a lot of Terminus, which isn't a bad thing. It's just an observation. Depending on your metagame, like I don't know that I like 4 Terminus for a league metagame where you're going to play against a lot more combo. But this was a challenge deck where people bring the decks that they actually play to win tournaments with, which is primarily Delver. And Terminus is a banger. Every time you flip it, it's a good time. I could see the one of Sylvan Library just being Narset number 4 or Teferi, like some generic good card in these colors. Costing 2 versus costing 4, or costing 2 versus costing 3 compared to all these other options is really a big deal. And if you are playing to a game state where you are stable at a medium life total, it doesn't really matter when you draw it. You can never draw 2 because there's only 1. I do like that. The sideboard is extremely Anzi, which is basically I'm not going to lose to Delver, and good luck on everything else. You don't need 4 carpets and 5 pyroblasts across your main and sideboard. Those could be other cards for Reanimator. It could be like Deafening Silences, Mindbreak Traps. If that's what you're worried about, you could play Collector Oof. Though that steps on your staff a little bit. Maybe you don't want Collector Oof. But I do like the discipline of recognizing this is an 80 card deck and you just have to decide what you're going to win and lose to and focus all of your slots on it. This league has given me a lot to think about, mostly Fable of the Mirror Breaker, a card that I already am in love with in multiple formats, and if you tell me I can put it in Legacy Blue decks too, I am very interested in exploring this space. Rio, thank you for the invitation to play this deck. Anzi, thanks for continuing to work and create content for the type of decks I like, because your content affects mine and vice versa. The positive feedback loop, and I'm happy to be part of it. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon, and I will see you next time.